So you're thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, specifically the South Charlotte corridor of South Park. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons, the good and the bad of living here in South Park. Now, if you stick around to the end, I'm actually going to talk about one of the flagship, most premier communities right here in South Park. So stick around, we're going to get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe and bell notification so you can be the first to learn about market conditions right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. My name is Dean, and I get calls and I get texts, I get emails every single day from people just like you, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're thinking about making that move here in 9 days, 90 days, go ahead, reach out to me, give me a call, send me a text or email. Or of course, we can meet face-to-face on Zoom. There's a calendar invite below in the description. I would absolutely love to help you and your family make that move to Charlotte, a smooth transition for you. So in today's video, we're really just gonna unpack South Park. Just like any area around the country, it's got its pros and its cons, and we're really gonna just chop that up and just spend a bit of time here. But the very first pro that I'm going to talk about, and it's something you hear all the time when it comes to real estate, the three most important things in real estate is location, location, location. So that's what we're going to start with. The location of South Park is absolutely prime. You are 6 miles south of uptown Charlotte. That would take about a 15-minute drive, and you don't even need to get on a highway. Now, directly south of South Park, you're gonna hit 485. Once you get 485, that's the beltway around Charlotte. So you can get anywhere in Charlotte by just jumping on 485. But if you need to be close to the airport, you need access to the airport, 485 is gonna take you right to Charlotte Douglas International. That's gonna be about a 20-minute drive. So 15 minutes uptown, 20 minutes or so to the airport. Now, if you're directly west of South Park, you're actually gonna hit 77. 77 is the main highway that just runs north and south through Charlotte. So again, major access point to anywhere around the Charlotte metro area. And it does, of course, cross 485. Now, if you go to the east, Providence Road is probably the biggest artery around. So there's a lot of shops, retail, access points to other parts of the city just on Providence Road. It's a major road. Now, if you just go one major road further, you're gonna actually hit 74, which is Independence Boulevard. So that runs kind of diagonal across the city. So just its location there, you're really 15, 20 minutes from pretty much everywhere. It really is considered the heart of South Charlotte. So I have a confession to make. When I was writing this lists out, the pros and the cons that I want to talk to you guys about, this one was actually further down the list. And when I looked at it, I was like, this really makes South Park what it really is. And the pro number two that I want to talk about is the style of houses. Now, we're not talking prices, we're not talking size, we're not talking any of that. I'm specifically just talking right now about the style of houses. People gravitate towards different styles, and that really influences their decision about what side of town they want to live at. But South Park has pretty much everything. So whether you're looking for more of a traditional Mediterranean, you like more of a modern style, maybe it's a barn style, French country, Cape Cods, whatever your style of house is, South Park offers it. Now, you can go down pretty much any street in South Park or any subdivision. The first thing that you're gonna see about this whole area is it's a very mature area. So you're gonna get wider streets, bigger lots, mature tree-lined streets. And we're not just talking giant trees, we're also talking about the local trees here that we have, crepe myrtles, which are absolutely beautiful, and they bloom all through spring and summer in different colors, and it just really makes the area pop. I will pre-warn you though, South Parks, the people that live in South Parks, their lawns are immaculate. It's perfectly manicured. It actually looks like a golf fairway. Some of these lawns are absolutely stunning, but it really makes this whole area pop. So if you're coming from out of town and you're gravitating towards a certain style, or if you have something in mind, whether it's that Southern traditional style, South Park has everything. It's absolutely beautiful. So pro tip number 3, the ladies are gonna love this one because it's the South Park Mall. If you've spent any time in Charlotte, you've probably already heard about this mall. It's no secret. In fact, people drive to South Park Mall from all around the state. It's the biggest mall in North Carolina. It comes at 1.7 million square feet. It's absolutely huge. But what makes it unique and such a big draw, it has high-end stores in there. Now, it does have its usual stores, which I'll call big box stores that you'll see at 90% of malls across the country. Yes, they have all of those, but what makes South Park Mall uniquely different is the high-end stores. You've got, just to name a few, you've got Gucci, you've got Louis Vuitton, you've got jewelry as well. So you've got Tiffany's, you've got David Yurman in there. For the guys, Peter Millar is in there. And you have some of the stores that I'm not going to say are high end because they're readily available at other places, but maybe places like Lululemon, Athleta, those stores are all there. And of course, you do have literally hundreds of other stores there as well, but they're just to name a few. So it's very, very popular. Any time of the day, weekends are real busy. It's a real hotspot. Now, outside of the mall, you're going to get more of your big department stores like the Best Buys, your electronic stores. So you're going to get stores outside of the mall as well. So that whole area, as far as shopping goes, is an absolute hotspot. Now, I'll tell you a quick story. I just recently helped a client that moved from out of town. And when we were talking about going through what she needs, her wants and her needs, she wanted to be close to the mall. She loved shopping. In fact, when we closed on the house, she made the 5th bedroom of the house, because she didn't need it, she made the 5th bedroom this awesome walk-in closet that she made absolutely, it just looked absolutely stunning. I don't really know what else to say about it. My wife would have absolutely loved that 5th bedroom as a closet. And the irony of it is, inside that 5th bedroom, there was a walk-in closet as well that she just used for putting the boxes of her shoes in, so they weren't really on show, but it was really like a display. It was absolutely beautiful. But I'm telling you this because she moved here because she wanted to be close to that mall. Her work had an opportunity for her, and being close to that mall was prime location for her. So that's what we're able to do. So maybe you're thinking about, you want to be close to a mall, you want to have that close to your doorstep. South Park is the place to be. So I'm not much of a mall guy. When I do go to the South Park Mall, I typically go to 2 or 3 stores. I know exactly where I'm going, and I hightail it out here. But pro number 4 that I want to talk about is the food. Now, if you're like me and you're a foodie, there is so many restaurants in South Park. You have got high-end fine dining. You've also got the chain restaurants that you probably will get most places around the country. They're locally as well, but you also have local restaurants that aren't chains, that aren't franchises. Maybe they just have a couple of locations in and around Charlotte or maybe another metro city that's more regionalized. So the food is absolutely fantastic. It's making me hungry actually just thinking about all these restaurants that they have. So I'm gonna just touch on 2 of my personal favorites. So the first one is Paco's Tacos and Tequila. I won't go into too much what they serve there because it kind of tells you what it is, but it's a local hotspot. Pretty much most people know it. It's a favorite throughout Queen City, and it's a great place to go. So if you're in town, if you're looking at houses, of course, reach out to me so I can help you. But I would also recommend, if you're going to be in the South Park area, that's one restaurant you actually have to visit. The second one, and that's probably my favorite one, it's called Cowfish. Now, I know the name is kind of funky. What they serve is burgers and sushis, but what makes it really good, it's a unique environment setting in there. So the menu is good. They don't just do regular burgers. Of course, they're on the menu, but they have different flavors of there. So burgers and sushi, it's kind of a unique combo there, but it's a good spot. One thing that we always get is the edamames as a appetizer. So if you like edamames, they do a fantastic job of what they bring out there. So I highly recommend those 2 places to go ahead and eat. Now, I will touch on South Park. It's a pretty affluent area. So all our quote unquote celebrities, typically, if they're not living there, they're really hanging out there. Now, we don't have celebrities like, let's say, Los Angeles. So take this for what it's worth. But most of our local celebrities are more sports figures. Michael Jordan, he lives in town. He owns the Charlotte Hornets. So you'll typically see someone like him. NFL football players are around there as well, and their coaches. Also, we've got a big population of NASCAR race car drivers, that live in the area as well. So you don't be too surprised if you're either in the mall or you're grabbing a bite to eat, that you might run into someone famous, quote unquote. Again, probably not going to run into Brad Pitt there, but you might run into a football player or two. So great little spot, the SouthPark Mall, the restaurants that they offer. Go get some. So SouthPark is home to lots of businesses, which leads me to pro number 5. So you've got larger corporations, Fortune 500 corporations there. Just to give you a couple of examples, Lincoln Harris is there, Coca-Cola Bottling Company is also there. We've also got Albemarle Corporation, Fortune 500 companies that have headquarters right there. There's over 40,000 office spaces there. So you've got everything that you can imagine, from financial services to insurance to healthcare. They're all located right there, which makes it really nice. A lot of the people that I work with, they live in SouthPark and their jobs are actually in SouthPark. So talk about a nice, easy commute for them. They don't even have to go to Uptown, but if they do, as you know, it's only 15 minutes away and you don't even need to get on a highway. But it's the second largest employment hub outside of Uptown. So SouthPark has it all when it comes to retail, restaurants, and also working commercial space. So schools and safety is the next thing that we're going to talk about. Always very, very important to pretty much everyone out there, specifically if you have kids of school ages. This is going to be really, really important for you as well. So the schools that are offered in the SouthPark area, I'm going to always recommend you to look at what's called niche.com. This is just going to be able to grade the schools specifically. They'll give you an A, B, C, D kind of grade where they are. Now, they do kind of fluctuate between school to school, let alone the districts, of course, as well. But the schools to schools, they do offer some districts. So I'm going to ask you, go ahead and reach out to me. If there's a specific school that you want to have your kids registered at, and you want to know what housing is available in that specific school zoning, I can get that set up for you. So I'd love to help you out there. But for the context of this video, the schools are really, really good. Go ahead and look at niche.com, like I say, but you do have options in SouthPark. So you have public schools, you have private schools, you have charter schools, and you also have Catholic schools there as well. So whatever flavor you're into, SouthPark is gonna offer that to you. Now, as far as safety goes, again, I'd encourage you to look at the local crime reports. Crime happens everywhere. SouthPark is not immune to it. But if you look into the data of the actual crimes committed in SouthPark, it's a safe area. Most of the crimes committed there are non-violent. They're more in the lines of theft and burglary. Not justifying that as crime as being a good crime. No crime is good. But when you look at the actual data and you kind of just unplug those layers of it, and you can kind of see that the crime is really low compared to other areas in Charlotte. And of course, those schools, that's really, really good. So you're starting to see this picture that I'm painting of how good SouthPark is an area, not only just to live, but to work, to do your shopping, to go to restaurants. You have it all right there on your doorstep. But you do need to be aware about some cons, because there are some, especially if you're thinking about moving to the South Charlotte area and considering SouthPark, and you're not quite as familiar as SouthPark as some of the locals are. So the con that I'm gonna talk about is the house prices. Now, before I unpack this comment, house prices are very subjective. So everybody's looking for a unique house, unique budget, unique price point, whatever that might be. Everyone is uniquely different. So for some, it might be expensive, for some, not so much. So again, take this comment for its face value, because I'm actually going to just compare average prices to the Metro Charlotte area. Right now, we're looking at $400,000, slightly under, as your medium home price in Charlotte. But if you just specifically take out SouthPark and just remove that from there, the SouthPark medium house price is slightly over $1 million right now. To give you an idea, I just jumped into the MLS right before shooting this video, just to see what properties have been turning right now in the past 30 days. Most properties are somewhere between that $2 and $3 million price point. The most expensive property, which I always like to look at, is 8.75 million. So depending on what your budget is, that's kind of where the average has been going in the past 30 days. If you're looking for more of an entry point into South Park, the subdivisions really start somewhere between about 700,000 to 800,000. So that's kind of an entry point. I hope that brings some value to you. But I will tell you that the house prices in South Park have increased almost 8% for the past 12 months, which is a higher rate of return as far as the Metro Charlotte area goes. And we all know that real estate is one of your biggest assets that you will ever own. So that's kind of a rate of return. It's a little bit more expensive to buy in there, but the increases that you will see are going to be greatly increased from the average Metro Charlotte area. So con number 2, I'm going to talk about traffic. Now, anytime you get a high influx of residential, businesses, commercial, retail space, restaurants, movie theaters, anytime you get that in a relatively small area, you're gonna get a lot of traffic, and there's really no way around that. Obviously, the peak traffic times are rush hour because of the amount of businesses that are around the South Park area, the people that live there commuting to and from other places around town. And also at the weekends, a prime time for people to go to the mall, go shopping, go to restaurants. These are all outside of business hours as well. So there really isn't a slow, quote unquote, slow time of day in South Park, especially down some of those main roads up and through. So you're gonna get the traffic. Now, I will kind of put that with a caveat. I recently helped a client move to South Park that came from Atlanta. So when I pre-warned them about the traffic, they looked at me and laughed. Now, if you've ever spent any time in Atlanta and you've seen some of the traffic that they experience there, you too will probably be laughing at this comment that I'm making. But relatively speaking, the traffic in Charlotte, the South Charlotte area, it's pretty congested around there. Now, when I'm traveling through and from in there, 10, 15 minutes, you can be kind of backed up. There's a lot of traffic lights, so you can, if you miss some of the lights or you get unlucky and you hit some reds, it can delay some of you traveling there. Again, it's relatively speaking. If you're coming from Atlanta, if you're coming from like a Chicago, a New York, or Los Angeles, you will not even consider this to be traffic. This is just kind of like normal, I guess. But for us, relatively speaking, this is traffic again. So that whole area can get a little bit backed up. Nothing too crazy. It doesn't bother me too much. But if you're coming from a smaller area or a smaller town or a smaller city in North or South Carolina, you might think that you are in the epicenter of the world with the traffic, but again, relatively speaking. So the next con would be diversity. Now, Charlotte is a diverse city. We are getting people that are moving here from all around the country, all around the world. Statistically, 150 people move to Charlotte every single day. And we're the 5th fastest growing city in the entire United States. So we are a diverse area. We have people from all walks of life, all around the globe, just right here in our little Charlotte, Queen City. But as far as other communities, if you compare it to other areas, South Park probably isn't as diverse as some other areas. Now, I put some of that not only just onto South Park, but because South Park is a developed area, there really isn't a whole lot of new construction. Whereas outside into the suburbs, once you get out of the city limits, there's a lot more new construction going there. So those areas, you'll probably see a little bit more diversity there, but that's probably because of supply and demand kind of ratio there. But just looking at it from the face value, I would say on a con side, South Park is not the most diverse area when you're looking at other areas in Charlotte as well. So I wanted to leave you with something I promised earlier in the video, and that would be one of the most premier flagship communities in South Park, and that is Foxcroft. It's actually comprised of 4 different Foxcroft subdivisions. So you've got the original, you've got Old, you've got East, and you've got Hills. They're all Foxcroft. Now, one thing that you'll know as soon as you get into these subdivisions is it's very stately. You're going to get older, larger homes. Most of them are going to be brick homes. Because they were built in the 80s and 90s, they would have all been completely updated, high-end finishes on here. One thing that I just love about these Foxcroft subdivisions, one is the space between the houses. So a lot of people have pools in the backyard. Another thing that I like is the I guess the natural beauty of the streets. Because these are older neighborhoods, you're gonna see these large grand trees that just cover the entire roadway. And we also have what's called crepe myrtle trees down here in the south, and they bloom all through spring and summer, different colors, and it really makes the area pop. Perfectly manicured lawns. This is really what you think about when you're thinking about Foxcross and homes in the South Charlotte area in general. Just great. The medium house price there is 2.4. The average is 2.9. So that will give you a kind of an idea on the price points for these homes. But again, it's a really nice area. So if you're thinking about making that move to Charlotte, whether it's SouthPark or you're thinking about some other subdivision in and out the Charlotte metro area, I would love to be your agent of choice. My contact information is below. Go ahead, reach out to me, give me a call. You can send me a text, email, or we can meet face to face on Zoom. I would love to help you and your family make a nice, smooth move to the Charlotte area. And until then, I will see you around town, and God bless.